Yeah, let's say that there's just a few nice little touches, and it's not a bank breaker at all.
Food's very important to me, as you can tell if you look at my body shape. But how many restaurants was there at this hotel?
There's 4. Yeah. They're Italian, there's Spanish, there's a steak and seafood, and then, as I say, there's the main buffet area, and that changes its theme every evening. So I'd say there's plenty of choices there. There's only 4 in this one, but I'd say if you were comparing it to, say, our Riviera Maya property, that's a large one that's got 16 restaurants. So I think the one thing with the Spanish is they love the family and they love their food. So those are the sort of 2 guarantees, really, with the properties.
Do you have to reserve a table for any of them?
You do have to make reservations, but it's really straightforward. You can make them before you arrive. You can make them on arrival. You tend to have restricted availability on the day, but if you get there, you make your reservations early. But yes, you do have to make those reservations, but there's concierges popped throughout the hotel, and you just go up to them, and it's a really painless experience to do. So,
what about a dress code? Can I be a slob in the restaurants, or do I have to dress up a little bit?
Well, actually, the friend I travelled with did actually come down to the pool, and he forgot to put some shoes on and tried to get into the buffet restaurant, and they politely said to him, would you mind just putting some footwear on, sir? They do, in the a la carte restaurants, request that the gentlemen wear long trousers, but that's really, it's sort of a smart casual, it's not overly formal, there's no black tie. And the one thing we sort of commented, because there was quite a few Americans actually in the resort, and it's like all the ladies seemed to have put a dress on and really made an effort, but the guys were quite happy in just their open shirts and, their shorts and their pants. So the only thing that they do stipulate is they request that the gentlemen do wear a pair of long trousers if dining in the a la carte restaurants.
I like to graze during the day, so is there hot snacks available?
There is, to be honest, breakfast is served till 11, and then lunch starts at 12:30 till 4, and then dinner comes on at 6:30. But if you're hungry in between, there's a snack bar that is fantastic. It overlooks the beach. So they serve food from 11 till 5, and then from 5 o'clock, the Mexican bar opens up its food offerings as well, so you can pop in and have some tacos and some nachos. And so, yeah, the only time you can only not get food is sort of between 1 o'clock and 7:30 in the morning, but then there is 24-hour room service if you really wanted that as well. So.
Oh, good. I'm glad you said about room service. I was beginning to panic if I was going to have
No, don't worry. There's a where there's a will, there's a way. And you also have nuts and crisps in your minibar if you get really desperate.
Okay. You can make comments about the show at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. Still to come on the show, I speak to Frank from Holiday Travel Watch about consumer and financial protection when it comes to holidays. As well as being the 3rd birthday, it's my 124th show. I never thought I would get to 4, let alone 124, especially after the first one, which I mentioned earlier, was awful. But never mind. My guest at the moment is Debbie Walker. She represents Barceló Hotels and Resorts in the UK. We're talking about one particular hotel at the moment, and we're talking about the one in Puerto Vallarta, which is on the Pacific side of Mexico. And we're going to find out a little bit more about the hotel and what you can see and do there. What about pools? A lot of people just like lazing by the pool. How many do you have?
Oh, yeah. They're very, very big on their swimming pools, and the Barceló Blue Pool. They have these amazing blue tiles that they use, so it just looks stunning. But there's 2 big family pools. There's also a sports swimming pool for the serious swimmers, and then the children also have a separate pool area too with a little slide. And then there's 2 outdoor jacuzzis too. Plus the sea. Don't forget there's a big ocean there as well. It's just on the doorstep. So as I say, that's the biggest pool of them all.
That'd be pretty big, yeah. So we've done food and we've done swimming pools, which you expect from hotels. But what else is there to do while you're there?
Well, there's a spa, and I did actually take advantage of that. It's very reasonable, actually. It was about £30 for a full Swedish body massage and a facial, which I thought was very, very reasonable. We've got a dive centre, tennis courts. Every evening they do a show. So it's very almost like a cruise ship theatre style show, and it's not Juan who was serving you breakfast suddenly having a quick change round and coming on the stage as Michael Jackson. It's professional shows. They also have a daily activity programme, so they've got one for children. They also do things like water aerobics and fun quizzes for adults as well. So they try to keep you busy if So there's plenty to do there.
You said if you get the upgrade, you can get Wi-Fi, but if you don't have an upgrade, can you still have Wi-Fi in the resort?
You can, but you have to pay for it.
Okay.
It is something that some hotels charge, some hotels don't. But yeah, they do actually charge for Wi-Fi. There is an internet centre if you want to go in and check your emails.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to have the Wi-Fi, you do have to pay a supplement. And it's about $40 for the week for a supplement to gain access into the Wi-Fi.
That's quite reasonable when I've seen prices at
Well,
other
to
hotels.
me, it's just, I'd pay $40 not to have the Wi-Fi because, when I'm on holiday, I kind of like the idea that nobody can get hold of me.
Mm-hmm.
But I know some children now are absolutely addicted, and if you took their iPad off them, it's just at the end of the world. So £40 to keep the peace, or $40, sorry, to keep the peace, it's sometimes worth that little bit of investment.
Yeah, me and my wife very rarely look at each other now. We're all both on our iPads or iPhones or whatever, so we need that.
We saw it in the restaurant, and there was a whole family just sat there all on their phones, not even looking at each other. I mean, they might have been texting each other instead of conversing, but yeah, there was a whole family. It was...
Yeah, my younger sister texts my mum. They both live in the same house, but my sister can be upstairs and she texts my mum rather than get up and talk to her. Different people.
The world that we live in.
Yeah, it is. You said you got the ocean to swim in, but what's the beach like? Is it private? Is there plenty of shade for those who want it?
Well, it's actually one of the most famous beaches in Mexico, and not because, it's one of the top 10 best beaches in the world, but there's a film that was made in, I think it's 50s, 60s, called Night of the Iguana.
Mm-hmm.
And it starred Ava Gardner and Richard Burton, and it was basically all filmed on Miss Maloya Beach, which is the beach that the hotel is actually on. So it's not 100% private. We do have an area that's cordoned off that is ours exclusively, and that has some lounges and the umbrellas up there. And we also have these little signs which says "No gracias." So in case anybody comes by, wants to sell you a T-shirt, you just show them, you pop your sign up and they don't bother you in the slightest. So yeah, it's a fantastic beach because the reason it was used for the filming is because the rainforest literally does meet the beach, and then you have a river that sort of separates the beach. It's not a big river, you can walk across it, but yeah, it's a really, really fantastic photographic beach, and if you follow it round, you can actually go to the area where the film was actually made. So it's on my list to actually watch the movie now, so that I can not only say I've been there, but actually have seen the film as well. But no, it's a really, really pretty, stunning little beach. Yeah,
the film was mentioned when I was there, say 20 odd years ago.
Yeah, it's still not their claim to fame, and when you do the sort of city tour, they're just like, John Huston put us on the map, and yeah, as I say, it is lovely, and it's quite interesting because there was a sort of a pole, and we only saw it when we sort of walked over there. It's like a telegraph pole, but it's got a big iguana on it, and the actual film site has now just been sort of left to ruin, which is a shame. You can't sort of go in and have a bit of a pot around because it's there. Looks like somewhere right for exploring, but yeah, it was lovely, really, really lovely, very, very clean, which is always a good thing.
Well, apart from the rundown film set, what else is there to see and do in the area? Well,
there is a city tour. Now, the one thing we found is to say there's no such thing as a 3-city tour, because this one did actually take us to a lot of shops.
Yeah.
The guide went to a silver shop, went to a glassware. But being British, we were like, no, thank you. So we knew what time they were being collected, and we just sort of had a wander. The city itself is really interesting. It's very, very rustic, very, very charming. There's an old church that was built by the people back in the 1860s, and also along the seafront as well. There's some amazing artwork. So it's very, very arty, and I would actually encourage people to just get in a taxi, get downtown, and just go off and explore, because there's no hassles. It's just a lovely place to walk around. You do have the tequila distilleries, because it's very close to the town of Tequila, so you can go up and learn about how tequila is made, have some samples. That's quite a good thing to do. There's also whale watching at certain times of the year, so the whales pass through. If you're into your adventure, you can go zip wiring. There was one picture which completely put me off because it was zip wired by your ankles. And I kind of thought, no, I don't think that's for me, not with my history of accidents. But yeah, it's a sort of place, you can get into the jungle, you can do the jungle experiences. I've got to confess, I was really lazy and just took advantage of the hotel. Did do one tequila tour, did do the city tour. But if you really wanted an action-packed holiday, you could certainly get it there. So it's one of those destinations you can do as much or as little as you like, but I would definitely 100% say do the tequila tours, because the tequila that we know it with the sort of the lemon, the salt, and the nightmare teenage experiences with it, it's not. It's actually they encourage you to sip it, and they sort of bring out the flavours more, and they kind of educate you a little bit on their local drinks. So that was definitely a good one.
You're listening to the John Guinn Travel Show on seclosounds.org. Coming to the end of my chat with Debbie Walker from Barceló Hotels and Resorts. The advantage of speaking to people who've been to the resorts, been to the hotels, is that you can ask them some tips so you can make the most of your stay when you get there. Sometimes in the brochures and the websites, these little tips which could make your holiday more interesting, more enjoyable, or more exciting, get missed out. But I'm now going to ask Debbie if she's got one particular tip that anybody who visits this hotel should do when they're there.
The one tip that I would do, and I noticed that they sort of, it was very full of Americans. I'll be honest, our hotel did have a lot of American clients staying, and we were, I think, one of 5 Brits that were actually there. So we were a bit of a novelty, and especially when we went to reception, said, "Oh, have you got any walking maps? Want to go out and have a walk?" So they did actually have one, and they gave us this walking map, and we literally walked out the resort, crossed the road, and we just started walking up the hill into the sort of the mountains and the forest, and we found an old restaurant ruins that had a waterfall and a natural swimming pool area that was stunning. There was a zoo. There was another tequila farm that we could have gone to see, and literally that was just a 10-15 minute walk from the hotel. So anybody who was staying there, I'd say don't be afraid to leave the hotel. You do not get any harassment whatsoever. You go out, you explore, you get to meet some locals, and I'd say definitely go into the old town and the romantic zone, because it's just so rustic, and yeah, you actually feel like you're in Mexico. I'm not being disrespectful towards Cancun, but Cancun is man-made. It's Benidorm but tidier. But this part of Mexico, I actually feel like I've been to Mexico, not just anywhere in the world. I've sort of been there. I've had a drink in a local bar. So that would be my one recommendation. Although you've got everything all inclusive and you don't have to leave, just make the effort and just pop out and just add to your experience. Okay,
I will pop out and have a stumble around the local area.
That's well, we were sort of like going, oh, what's down there? And as I say, literally, it was just this old car park that was abandoned, and we just walked through it, and then found these stunning old ruins of what was. And we actually researched it. It was a really buzzing restaurant in the 1980s, and it was famous for its waterfall and the fact that the water came down to this natural pool area. But it's just been left to nature, so it's kind of rumbling down. But it was. As I say, it was a little adventure for the day. But but I think a few people thought we were a little bit crazy. We go out for a walk, but hey, each to their own.
Yeah. So how can we find out more about the hotel and the other ones in the range?
Well, we've got the main website, which is barceló.com. Very, very easy. So as I say, all our hotels are actually listed on there. But we also would encourage anybody who is interested in staying in any of our resorts, be it Dominican Republic, be it in Puerto Vallarta, be it Riviera Maya, to actually go and speak to a travel agent or contact their tour operator, because although, we have some great deals online, if you are looking to do a package holiday, you're not going to get a better deal doing it direct. You will get the best deals by working through a UK tour operator, because that's who we give our best rates to, travel agents and tour operators. So, I'm hopefully going to be out there speaking to a lot more travel agents and making them a little bit more confident in suggesting us. So, as I say, you can do your own research, but I'd say if you want the best price, then, as I say, do try and support your local travel agent.
You can contact us or just keep up to date with travel news at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show.
This is Seclo Sounds, your community radio station. If you'd like to volunteer some of your time and skills with Seclo Sounds, send an email to volunteers@seclosounds.org and let us know how you would like to be involved.